All right, so hello and welcome everybody. The order of the day is to continue on with the example that we were doing on Wednesday. We were making a Twitter facsimile, which we were calling Triple Z. This is intended to be a rather large example of something approximating a real world system, or closer to one anyway. With the purpose of also reviewing some of the major topics that we've covered since the midterm, including databases and sessions, the topics, ostensible topics at least, of assignments 3 and 4, so you can be pretty dang sure the exam is going to feature them. Again, I'll know more about the exam next week, so we'll talk more about the exam in subsequent episodes. So, I don't need 2 Visual Studios, I only need 1. All right. Visual Studio. So, the starting point for today is the stopping point from last time. I published the code in the Avenue announcements feed on Canvas. Sorry, so I said Avenue, didn't I? Sorry, that's the system at McMaster. Old habits die hard. So, if we go to server side, go to announcements. Code was posted November 29th. There we go. Download this zip file, please, and you can actually just kind of sneak it directly into htdocs. That's fine. Yep. It's kind of funny, like, all of our labor over the last, all of our labor over the last class produced just shy of 3 kilobytes of data, you know? Yes. So if we extract this, we can open it up on localhost and see what we were working with. No, go away. Just click this in here. That's a bit better, right? No. Localhost. New. Triple Z. There we go. So it's, we need to take the contents. It'll throw off our URLs if it's not exactly the same. There we go. Just make sure that the directory structure is, you have htdocs, our ZZZ folder. Inside of that we have index, our JavaScript file, and the API file. This guy, SQL source file, which you will find in that folder, this should be loaded into phpMyAdmin in order to reconstruct the table. So, if you click, you need the database first. So, I think you need the database. I don't know. Let's see. Let's find out. Yeah, if you're doing this on your own local machine, you don't need to re-import the database. It should still be there.
I don't have this
Really? Did you really? From the zip file that was
No,
off?
I don't.
Oh, that was a final step that I did at the end of class last time to save the state of my database using export. I always miss this, which is why I always have to like remake my table from scratch every lesson.
Well, that was your database.
Yeah, that's just my database. Yeah. So there we go. Ah. No database is selected. Okay, so we do need to make it. So our database name is ZZZ. Create. There we go. Now we import. There we go. Now, looking at our table, you can see our data from last time is intact. It is a fine day for jumping it down, up and down like an idiot. And last class is dismissal. Notice that class is not currently dismissed. Class is currently in session. So, our database has been reconstructed. Our very simple ZZZ social media system consists currently of two controls. Number one, we have a rich text box where we can post a post to our database. And second, we have a get button that allows us to retrieve the contents of the Zed's database to get all of our posts. If you like winter, stick around. Post. If you prefer spring, yeah. Or now is the winter of our discontent. And beware the Ides of March. There we go. Now, if we get oh, I remember. This is the part we were at. We haven't done the thing that shows the posts yet, but we are retrieving them correctly from the database. So we've got a little bit of front-end work to do. But just to prove that I'm not lying, we take a look at the network tab, take a look at our response. You can see, that's very tiny for those of you in the back. Our JSON does actually contain all of the contents of the database, which we added. We just need a way to show this JSON on our display. So let's do that. Shh. I'm teaching. All right. I meant to open the folder. That is the folder. There we go. So as you can see, at the moment, we're really not getting much, right? Or that is to say, at the moment, our JavaScript only consists of 2 fetch requests. We're not like generating any HTML. So let's write a function to generate some HTML. In our HTML, well, it is called PHP, but in our index page, let's drop in a quick little div. ID is post display. that will contain all of the posts that we are displaying, right? We need a place to drop it. I mean, in theory, under the current setup, we could just append to the body, right? Append child to body, but I feel this is a little more clean. We can move it if we want to, right? It's a little more dynamic. So, in our JavaScript, let's write a new function. Display posts. This function, so when we receive our data, we are receiving it as JSON, right? So, rather than just outputting it, we wish to call display posts on it. So far, so good. So, basically, I want to create a div for every post that displays both the text of the post and the number of likes. We will add a few other things as we go along through this, but for now, that will be sufficient for our interactivity to be, visible to an end user. So, for int I is equal to 0, I is less than posts length. I think length in JavaScript is not capitalized. Am I right about that? Maybe somebody knows. Oh, and of course, let etc. Is this clearly? Can you see this clearly from the back? Okay. Good. So, for each of these, we wish to create a div. Well, actually, let's get a reference to our output first. Let's out panel equal document dot query selector. Always forget what I named the bloody things. Post display. There we go. Now, we wish to create a new div, document dot create create element, yes. Div and we let new div equal that. Right? Creating a new div. Next, we modify some properties. Let's just add contents to it. Let's text paragraph equal document dot create element paragraph. And let likes paragraph be the same. For the text paragraph, we want to set the contents to the text returned from the post that we're at in the loop. So text paragraph dot inner HTML is equal to posts at I at and now I need to remember what we call things in the database dot text. Well, it's actually JavaScript is considering this thing an object, not an associative array, but JavaScript allows for accessing of fields of an object in this manner I'm doing this for consistency with the PHP. And because it doesn't bloody matter how you do it. Likes e.inner HTML is equal to the likes field in the return post data. Now we wish to append these two paragraphs to our new div and append the new div to our output div. So, new div dot append child text paragraph, new div dot append child likes paragraph, new div dot, out panel dot append child new div. There we go. So, between all of this, we should get a nice, clean display of our output to our web page. There we go. And there you can see it. Now, of course, all of our divs are kind of like you can't really distinguish them as divs. So I think I'm just going to drop in a quick style rule to be able to use divs properly, so you can actually see where they are. I think that's useful. Yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah. Style. I know you're supposed to externalize CSS, but you know, whatever. Div. This is for debugging. Order 2 pixels, solid. Gray is somewhat less offensive than black. And there you have it. Question? No? Any questions from anybody? Yes?
Can we go back to Java?
Absolutely. You know, we didn't think those two were in this class.
Like the JavaScript?
Oh, yeah, sorry. So, recall from last time, our goal with this project is to implement 4 operations. We want to be able to get our Zs. We want to be able to post a Z. So we've got that one and we've got that one. We also wanted to be able to put a like on a Z, and we want to be able to delete a Z. So let's talk about likes, shall we? So there's a more convenient way to do this and a less convenient way to do this. And unfortunately, the more convenient way for us is the much less convenient way for the end user. Normally, when you like something, the like button is attached to the post. In theory, it would be possible to make a dialog like our text box at the top, require the user to specify the number, like the ID number of the post that they're liking, and then that updates it, right? That would be very convenient for us, the programmer, but absolutely terrible in terms of user interface, considering the post ID number is not even information currently being reported to the end user. So, in addition to our text paragraph and our likes paragraph, let us additionally add a button to like a post. So, let like button equal documents dot create elements button like button dot inner HTML is equal to like, and we need to hook up our button to a to an AJAX request, right? Now, it doesn't work, or at least I couldn't get it to work last time, trying to set the on-click parameter here. So, rather, it's time to create an event. So, like button dot add event listener. Click. And then we have to provide a function. Let's say put like. Put like what? Like I told you to. Etc. Then we can modify one of our existing AJAX requests to service this new request. Now, I don't want to display posts because this put request in theory doesn't have any return results, right? If you think about the SQL command that this corresponds to, which is update, it doesn't return anything from the database, it just modifies the database. So in theory, if we're doing REST correctly, the most we should get as a response from this is some kind of, message from the server, this was successful, or some kind of echo message which you would stick in console, right? I should probably change the name as well. Put like. There we go. Method will be put. Now, in order for the database to increase the like parameter on one of these posts, what do we need to send to the server from the client? What information? We are liking a post, right? Yes? Precisely so. We need to send the identification number of the post whose button was clicked, right? Since we haven't done encoding parameters in the URL yet, let's encode that in the URL, pick it up on the server side, and disambiguate it in that way. Sound good? So, the question then becomes, how does this function know ID number is. And this is a tricky one. How do we relay the information which button was pressed into this function? We have to do two things to the code to make this work. But does anybody have any ideas? Say it again? You have to give the div an ID. Well, how do we get a reference to the particular div containing the post here? Yes?
You mean the content for the div?
Well, like the content of the div doesn't actually contain the ID, right?
Like, the database has ID.
Well, we can't query the database for it. That's like too much interaction with the server, although I guess in theory we... And, yes?
Would it be a part of like the event data?
Getting closer. Yeah. So, when you call a function from an event, that event provides that function a definition for this. This is the object to which the event was attached. Objects can store data. In JavaScript and other dynamically typed languages, if you want to attach an additional property to an object, all you need do is assign to that property. So, if we want this particular button to know which post it identifies, all we need to do, like button dot post ID is equal to, and then we can grab the post ID and assign it. So, this effectively captures and stores the post ID in the button object itself. Since the button object is defined as this inside of the put-like function, that we can retrieve that ID number from this inside of the function. So this becomes this dot post ID. Does that make sense? It's a little bit of object-oriented trickery, but if you try to think of alternative ways of doing this, you would have to come up with something like, keep a big array of post IDs for the posts that are on the screen, and then, the button has to be able to decide, like, where in the list, where in all of the children it exists, at what ID, and then sync itself up to the ID array list, which, this is easier, right? There's always a million ways to do anything, but I think you'll agree that adding one line here and modifying this slightly is a pretty swift way of doing it. So, let us now take a look at our generated HTML page. Oh, wait, did I not save it? Oh, I didn't append the button. Nah. All right. New div dot append child. And actually, now, since we're on the subject, check this out. Every time I click the button, it just re-appends it. So what we should do here actually, before we display it, we should clear it. So out panel dot inner HTML is equal to an empty string. That will help. It'll make things look a little nicer. Oh, do I have a console error? Oh. Good Lord. All right. There we go. So now you can see we have like buttons. And even more impressively, when we click a like button, we get a syntax error. Meh. All right. Based on the parts unexpected. Ah. Yeah, that's right, because we're not, the put script, the put case in the PHP script is currently just saying some kind of default text. We were decoding it as JSON, which is incorrect. But that does mean the transaction is working. So, yeah, and it reports under construction. If we take a look at the network tab, we'll see that this has worked. Our post number is being correctly put into our URL or URI. I haven't heard strong opinions on whether, like it seems people have strong opinions on whether you should say URL or URI. URI seems to be more recent, but I don't know. Does anybody know that? What's the difference between URL and URI? Okay. I just haven't, I've been too busy to look it up, that's all. But anyway. So, question or answer?
URL is locate. The L is locate.
Okay.
The I is identify.
Are those not synonyms? To locate something and to identify something?
Apparently not, no.
I mean,
It's not
locate
necessarily
is,
intended as an address to get a resource. It just has an identifier.
it seems like it's not a greatly important semantic difference to me. Yes?
It says that all URLs are URIs, but not all URIs are URLs. Like, the URI is a string of characters that identify the name of the resource, but like, the URL is a subset of URI that specifies the location of the resource on there.
Okay.
I don't understand either, but that's what the list is.
I'm probably not, that's not strong enough for me. I'm probably going to still use both terms to mean each other. So, let's jump back into our dispatch script. So, jumping down to our put parameter, we are now encoding important information in the URL, URI, of our request, which means we need to know how to get it and process it. So, fortunately, our server superglobal contains a request URI value, which contains exactly this. So, what we need to do is we need to take our URI and take everything out from between the slashes. There is a function for this in PHP. Does anybody remember what it is? It's got a very dramatic name. It's explode! Yes. We have to explode this along the correct slash. Forward slash is the correct slash, backslash is the incorrect slash. Yes?
I'm wondering, like, right now, we're gonna, like, basically parse the URI and get the likes, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll get the like, which post number the like is applying to. Yeah.
Is it, like, is it possible to make that into an array and send it that way, or, like, does it have to be a URI?
So, there's about 3 ways you can do it, right? You can send it in payload parameters, you could send it as the payload, you could send it with query parameters, or you could encode it in the URI, right? Encoding things in the URI and getting things out is something that's discussed in the REST material, and I'd like to put it on screen, that's why I'm doing it this way. And you do, in fact, use it this way. I think this is the correct application for it. But yeah, no, you're right. You could send it a number of other ways as well, but you should know how to deal with parameters that have been sent in the URL. Make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good. So, let's take a look at what we're dealing with. There we go. So you can see, once we have extracted our URI, we have all of the different things between the slashes split up by positional value. Now, so far, all of the request types that we've been passing around have been distinguished by whether they're post, get, put, or delete. But there are other different types of things that you might send via these different methods, right? For example, perhaps our system could have likes and dislikes, although I think disliking things has recently been made illegal on YouTube, so, yeah. It still keeps track of it, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is an extension you can get on the Chrome extension.
Yeah.
That it will let you see the dislike review.
Yes. And I know, like, for my videos that I publish of my classes and such, it doesn't tell you how many dislikes you have, but it gives you how many total interactions of that nature there are and how many of them are likes. So all you have to do is a little bit of subtraction. You know? It even shows you like a little proportion bar of how much of it you got that's dislikes. So, it's like, we all know dislikes exist. Why would you pretend they don't exist, YouTube? But anyway, you know what it is? It's the cult of militant positivity. Everything must always be positive. There's another example of this, actually, just on a side tangent. Have you ever looked at, like, any of you with Android phones with the Android messaging app, take a look through the stickers, right, to send to your significant other or whatever. See if you can find a single one that expresses a negative emotion. I guarantee it's hard to find. You have to go for, like, the animated GIF memes if you want to express negative emotions.
Or emoji, just the regular emoji.
Well, I mean, yeah, but like,
It's not as fun.
but the stickers themselves, like they don't control the contents of the emoji because it's a universal standard and you can't really remove symbols from it, right? But they do have control over the contents of the sticker packages, right? But anyway, I suppose that's neither here nor there. So a thing that you will often want to do is extract, the point I was making there is sometimes there's some decision to make based on the... Okay, it seems to be okay. You know what? I should actually point this thing towards myself more often. I can pick up errors that way. All right. You failed me. We're good. Yeah, thank you. Wow. That was close. We just about had to go to the subscribers only portion. So anyway, someone had a question about this. Am I still talking about that, or was I talking about something
I
else?
think you pretty much answered it. Because
Okay.
you can put stars, but you could just keep it in because it just maintainability.
Yeah, the whole point is, like, you don't have to know how many characters you want to get rid of. You just have to know what the location is. And there might even be some way in PHP to, like, get that with a script as well, or get that with programming so you don't have to hard code it. But
Okay.
we've talked about this long enough, basically.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So we can then, oh no, am I gonna explode everybody's brains? Switch within a switch. Also with dump JSON into code and assign this to like request. There we go. Switch on request at 0. Case like, I think we called it that. Right? Great. Default echo unrecognized put command. There we go. And maybe also tell them I'm a teapot. Why not? So, this means that when the fetch request is putting together its packet, the word that comes before the parameter is either an operation that you wish to perform, or you could also think of it as a key value pair in the same way that JSONs also do key value pairs, that type of thing. So there we go. Like. Now we want to perform the actual operation. It's a database operation. So we can grab our database, some of our database code. There we go. And I was hitting cap lock instead of, there we go. Okay, there we go. We need to prepare our query. This is our SQL statement. So we wish to update. How does update work again? Update, then the table name, right? So it says update table. I think I'm going to look it up. Yeah, okay. So update sets, set likes equaling likes plus 1, where ID is equal to question mark. Aha! Again, don't put it in there directly. If you do, SQL injection attack, you'll get gotten. You put the parameter in there. Request 1, which is the second parameter, which is the That's the post number that we've sent through with the AJAX request, right? So far, so good? Any questions? Yes?
Is the post number related to the ID database or?
Yes, the post number is the ID in the database, yeah. So in terms of overall flow for that ID number, right? When the GET request fetches all of the database, all of the information in the database, we then pass that information to the display function, which constructs all the divs. That display function passes that ID along to the like button itself, stores it in the like button. The like button, when it has its click event happen, takes that ID number, slaps it on the end of the URL, fires it off to the database. The database, catching the packet, rips the URL apart, pulls the ID number out, and puts it inside of the database, inside of the SQL query. And I know that's like 7 operations to like pass this information around correctly, and that if it didn't work at any one of those stages, it would all fall apart. But you know, this is the career you chose. So, yes. Good. Save. So that, in theory, is everything that's required for our put request. I will do one thing before we sort of launch this code. In the JavaScript, where we are putting a like, I want to add one more thing. Once the result has been processed, I want to refetch all of the database values so that the like actually appears on screen once you've liked something, right? Now, you know, in a real world scenario, you probably wouldn't fetch the entire contents of the database, but you know, this is a toy example, small enough that this is not really a problem. We don't really have to worry about efficiency, right? So, very simple. We just get the Zs after we have fetched everything. Here you go. Haha! Did you know that you can put more thens on something if you really wanted to? Right? So, going to our document, it really would make more sense if it was side by side. Why is there a way to, can I pull you? Oh, doc, right, there we go, that works much better. Alright, so, we get our posts, we like a post, oh, like. If we take a look in our PHP, my PHP admin, take a look at the state of the database, you can see, boom, likes work. So, any questions? Yes.
It says like 13 times. Did you click it 13 times?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. 13 is not a lucky number, so I will click it one more time. Boop.
Oh, okay. I thought it was jumping up.
There you go. Yep. No, everything is working according to. See. Okay. Brief digression. In order for that to be jumping up by more than one at once, the PHP dispatch script itself would have to be executing multiple times per time I click the like button. Not impossible, but what you would have to do is trigger multiple AJAX requests from within the same JavaScript function to be able to get that, right? Which I wouldn't recommend because it's just why would you do that? Question?
I mean, to add on to that, you probably just are limited to one like only. ID anyway, so pressing the button on contacts just a like and then removes the like. Right?
In theory, yes, each account should only be able to like something once, but
This is frame perfect like. that's
yeah,
multiple
we don't
times.
have users yet, right? So there's no way of restricting it, and you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yes?
How is the links incremented?
It's embedded in the SQL query actually. So
Oh, okay. that
right
makes
here,
sense.
set likes equal to likes plus 1. That's where the increment is happening. Yes.
So now that we have the likes that it can increment by 1 and it goes up every time you like it, is it easy enough to now switch the button to say unlike once it's liked and then you can remove the
Oh
likes?
yeah. Oh yeah. That would be.
Pretty much be the same, but you can do likes minus 1? But like without
All
that
you would
code?
do is modify this guy right here.
Okay.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You could create. Basically, all you'd have to do is duplicate a bunch of code, hook it up slightly differently, and modify that plus to a minus, and you've got a dislike button.
Gotcha.
Yeah, very, very simple to put a dislike button in now. Yeah. Now that we've worked out the hard part, which was being able to store the ID number.
Right.
So, having done that, let us now turn our attention to the delete button. So, we don't have users yet, right? We don't have any support for logins or users or sessions or anything of that nature. So, basically anybody can delete anyone's posts, you know, which seems to be the direction of travel of content moderation policies on various social media platforms. Jokes. So let's put in a delete button. The delete button works very, very similarly on the front end to the like button. We need to add one more button in here. We will also need to store the ID in it in the same manner. So, just copy pasta that code. Rather than making a like button, we are making a delete button. Rather than saying like, it says delete. And rather than calling put like, we can call delete post, which is a function we have not written yet. Super simple. Next thing we can do, set up the delete post function. Delete post. Our method will of course be delete. We will need to attach the post ID, but we're not really liking things anymore. In fact, we're doing the complete opposite of liking things. It's a little bit redundant to put, delete here and here, but whatever. So, does this make sense? So far, so good? Okay. So, jumping to our dispatch code, the code which deletes a post does not vary substantially from the code which likes a post. The only difference is the nature of the SQL query which we are performing. So we can, in fact, copy paste all of this. There we go. Change like to delete, and we will need to modify our query. So rather than updating, we are deleting from sets where ID is equal to the thing. That is the ID number of the post. Make sense? Question?
For the JavaScript, don't you have to make, create the element?
Did I forget of it? Let me take a look.
Or did I miss it?
Also, when you guys are asking me questions, if you wouldn't mind speaking up a bit, I know I don't know if you guys can hear it, but this fan is really loud and right above my head, and it makes it hard for me to hear you guys when you're talking. So if you wouldn't mind, just bellow at me.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm sorry, but you have seated yourself right in the way of my camera.
Sorry.
So if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. I'm sure our internet viewers would appreciate it. Yeah. So the problem you thought was a problem wasn't a problem?
No, I meant you didn't create the element, did I miss something?
Oh, no, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I need to make a button. Good job. Excellent work. There we go. So that'll create our delete button. This will process our delete button. Only real difference here is the SQL query. But, the response code should be different as well for these two. So I think I'm going to change the put request to a 204 on success, and the delete request should be, let's give it a 204 as well. There we go. Now, for the moments of truth, let's run the code. Get. Wow, where are my buttons? Where are my buttons at? I also forgot to append it.
It seems to be the folly in your class, sir.
Sorry?
It seems to be the folly in your class. Keeps getting to append stuff, sir.
It gets me every time, honestly. Just a little bit of a scatterbrain, that's all. So, we now have delete buttons. Clicking a delete button deletes the post. Boom. Response, correct, everything correct. Reload, and it's gone from the database. And it's just that simple. So you can see, once you've got the basic interactions set up, adding new features is really quite straightforward and simple, so long as you know what features you're adding and everything's well defined. So, yeah. Any questions? Good. Now, we get to the fun part. Because we have introduced all of our operations. Now, let's do something about users. Unless anybody has any questions. So, I believe it will be the most expedient way to proceed to use our login scripts that we had discussed previously in class and integrate these in some manner into our current page. Make sense? Good. So let's go to Canvas. I have, let's see here. How about this? Yeah. It would be useful if I gave this to someone with naming it. Oh wait, do I already have it here? Code from our SQL injection attack, but I think login and register can be put back to use reasonably easily. So let's just grab those, drop them in. There we go. Take a look at what we're dealing with. Login and register. Yep. So let's turn filtering back on, shall we? Put these in here, change these for user and password. There we go. And, well, we also, on the register side, we were going to hash the password. So hash is equal to password hash, the incoming password. Then we store the hash in the database rather than the raw password. Always a good idea. Oh, and you want a parameter, don't you? It's password defaults. That's correct. There we go. Now on the login side, on success we do not count the number of pieces of data returned. We password verify. We're verifying the incoming key versus the value retrieved, which will be data at password, or data at the first piece of data, get the password parameter. There you go. That restores us to where we were before. So now, let's create some forms, a login and a register form on our website page, just to be able to interact with these scripts. So, going to index.php. Form and form. That'll be the login form. Action is login.php. input type is equal to text. Name is equal to, what is it expecting? Name, uname. Name. Input type. Now, we could do input type as password. This will put all of the asterisks over top of the password so that you can't see the password by looking at the screen. However, because this is our prototype version and a debug version, let's just leave the password as plain text so that we can see what's going on with the database. Make sense? Just for educational purposes, I do not recommend this to be deployed. So, type password, or no, type text. I just said not to do that. All right. And then the name here is pass. There we go. We'll need a submit button as well. Actually, no. We should do this with Ajax. So I'm going to give it an ID number as well. One second. Yes.
Why should you do it with Ajax?
The submit button refreshes the page. That's the only reason. Yep. Maybe I want to give the ID, the form itself an ID as well. There we go. All right. Now we just duplicate that or register. So, hopping over to our JavaScript now. Oh, we will need like buttons to do that though, now that I'm thinking about it. Button. Login. Log in. And equally for register. There we go. This one will have on click, target, login, function. This one on click will target register. So far, so good.
You under register ID for username and password. Do they have to be different, the IDs?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I somehow lost my underscores. Oh. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. So, hopping over to our JavaScript, function login and function register. So, let's do register first because we have to register before we log in. The URL that we wish to access will be register.php. then wish to fetch that URL. Method will be post. Body will be the following. Uname is a value, and pass is another value. Then response gets response.text. Then result gets printed to console. Like so. Not the prettiest one I've ever written, but there you have it. Now, for the values of x and y here, document dot query selector reg, what was it called? Reg name dot value. Let y equal document dot query selector reg pass value. Oh, yes, thank you. Making a lot of typos today. Which is like strange because last night was like one of the rare nights where I actually get to sleep through the whole night. So, yeah. The kids weren't up in the night. Anyway. So, this fetch request will send a request to the login script, the registration script. This should allow us to register a new user. Will not necessarily log us in as that user, but you know, we can go from there. The login function, very, very similar, but we are targeting the login PHP script, and we are getting login name and login password. Otherwise, these two are precisely and exactly the same as each other. So, let's save. Pull up localhost. See if we can't get some users registered. So, let us register our old friend, Mr. Crab. 1, 2, 3. Password is money. Register. Oh, we're not connected. Ah, yes. So, that's correct. So, I guess if I want to disable the refresh, I gotta put the button outside of the form, don't I? Do I even need form at this point? What is even the point view? There we go. Good. Console. Query selector is no. Line 70. Line 70, you say? Right name? Oh, yeah. Lucky hashtags. Sorry, October. Have I had this conversation with this class yet? What the proper name of the quote hashtag character is? The correct name of this guy is Octothor. That's what the symbol is called. It's not called hashtag. It's
Sorry,
called
no,
Octothor.
I believe it's called the pound key.
What are you, from the 1970s?
Yes, sir. In fact, no, the 80s.
Oh, have they just invented touch-tone phones? That's what they used to call phones, but back when they were trying to get people off of rotary phones onto phones with buttons, they called the ones with buttons touch-tone phones. Anyway, old technology is fascinating. Register. Username too short. I don't think it is. I'm going to destroy you. Safety check. Less safety. Error, not, yes. That is the correct response. The correct response is, I don't know what database you're talking about, you idiot. Prior, we were using a different database and a different table, and we haven't actually created the table in the database yet, so of course we can't connect to it. Of course we can't connect. It makes perfect sense why we wouldn't be able to connect. So let's take a look at our register script. Database name will be ZZZ. Same thing with login, but we need to make a table. So let's hop over to phpMyAdmin, make a new table. Table name is credentials. We will have a auto-incrementing primary ID. We will have a username, which will be a varchar of size 64, and a password, which will be a varchar of size 255. Save. I said save. There we go. Now, if we register Mr. Krabs, adding the new user failed for some reason. Interesting. Perhaps I should try refreshing. Interesting. So we are correctly connecting to the database. And did I misspell something? Password.
go back to the database? Did you spell credentials right?
Oh, maybe not. Let's see.
I can't see it from that far.
Credentials. Let's see here. Credentials. Yep, it's spelled the same. Strange. It should just work. Oh well. Let's see here. Don't ever do this. Ah, that would do it. I don't think I'm taking the input. Yeah, that's the issue. Somehow I messed up that. Let's see. Ah. So. Probably messed up. You know what? In electronics, we have this saying, 90% of all problems are caused by the power supply. In web programming, I believe the equivalent phrase is that 90% of all problems are caused by the JavaScript. I think this one's being caused by the JavaScript. Not with jQueries. Objects. Yep. I've been done dirty by JavaScript. I think I forgot the JSON encoded or something. Alright, no, that's not how you do it here. It's JSON.stringify. Alright, so refresh. Try again. Console. Request field contains object. Alright.
sir,
Yes.
right now you're doing that for the login function. Are you supposed to be doing that? Is it for the register function?
Oh, my dear sweet Jesus, yes. Thank you. That will be the issue. Here we go.
That's fine.
So JSON, yes, okay. Good. In theory, we're getting data. But what's our response happening? Still nothing. Yes. If I can just view the payload. If I can view the payload, I can JSON decode it, and we have our stuff.
Go straight and all that.
You watch me. Yes. This is the line I want. Ha! 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 I got it. All right. So here's what the problem was. The AJAX request was putting the data in the body. It needed to be JSON, or else it printed as a JavaScript object string, which isn't actually any data. Then when we went to the PHP, it didn't pull it out of the superglobal, which is where filter input was looking for it. So I had to go to the body of the thing, and that's how you get it, my friends. So if you want to pull just the body of the HTTP packet, just as raw text, you just want the body. File get contents php://input is the body of the HTTP packet. Once I grab that bastard, I can decode it, get my stuff out of it, and then process it as I was before. Now I actually have my username and password, which means that I was able to add it to the users in the database. Ta-da! We even have things properly hashing. I don't know. Like, I don't think, I taught that in the anticipation that it was going to be published later in the week, but I don't think that topic was ever actually published. So, I don't know how it can be on the exam if, it wasn't ever published. Can neither confirm nor deny. So, we can add a few more items. Squidward, password is clarinet. Here we go. Etc. So, let's talk sessions. I know class is almost over, but let's talk sessions. So, now that we have logging in, well, I should check if the login also works, shouldn't I? Let's just do that quickly. Mr. Krabs, 1, 2, 3. Password is 1. Login. Unfind offset. Find offset 0. Interesting. On line 26. Login. Line 26. Find offset. Echo JSON encode data. Okay, let's take a look. Empty. Interesting. Oh, I remember. Yes. The password is not, the password we received is no longer the password of the database, so if we're checking against it in the SQL, we're never going to get anything. So, we have to remove the bit where we also check the password in the SQL query, just get the password associated with this username, regardless as to whether, it checks out or not, because SQL is no longer responsible for checking to see if it works. So, we remove this guy as well. Here we go. Big bang boom. There we go. Now we should get some data from our login. That credential still. Here. No parameters were found. What do you mean no parameters were found? Alright, put this in a thing. Okay. Still getting nothing. Well, I'm going to say the thing I was going to say anyways. We'll get this working, before the next class. So, previously, when I discussed logging in, the idea that the act of logging in itself started the session. That was how we described things previously. I have revised my position for this particular example. Because we're doing everything with AJAX requests, and in theory we are never reloading the page, I believe it makes more sense to begin a session automatically when the user arrives at the website, like not gate that by anything, just start the session, and then keep a variable inside of the session's superglobal indicating whether this session has been authorized and what the authorized user ID is, right? This way, basically, it takes some of the guesswork out of like when do we start the session, when do we continue a session, you know, are we continuing a session in some cases but not in others? Having one session, regardless whether, you know, you're an authorized user or an unauthorized user, makes session management much more simple, because you don't have to worry about pages that aren't authorized being different from pages that are. It's just the PHP script behavior will be different based on whether you're an authorized user or not. For example, you know, when you post something, your user ID will be sent along with the SQL query to the database to be stored as the author number. When you delete something, it should need to check to see if the thing it's deleting corresponds to your user ID before you delete it, because you should only have authorization to delete your own posts, right? And this is sort of in addition to any additional stuff you may wish to do, you know, respecting, you know, avatar pictures or that sort of thing. You can also set up databases to retrieve that information. We're not going to worry about that kind of stuff so much, but, you know, there you have it. Does this make sense? Cool. I'm going to use the last 2 minutes of class to see if I can figure out why this isn't working. But other than that, does anybody have any questions? Yup.
Did you bring your gavel?
No.
It's never happened. So next week, please bring your
Next
gavel.
week is the last week. It has to happen.
It has to happen.
Yeah.
Set an alarm on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
for assignment 4, have you guys gone over in this class at all how to add the database to the CS Unix?
Oh,
Is it relatively simple to do?
it is relatively simple to do.
Okay.
Inside of the package of starter code, you received an SQL file, right?
Right.
.SQL.
Yeah.
On PHP MyAdmin,
Okay.
on PHP MyAdmin, there's an import tab.
What's that?
Import tab.
Okay.
You just select the SQL file here and click go, and it will add the table to your CS Unix database. So your permissions on CS Unix are somewhat restricted. You do not have the ability to create new databases, but you do have the ability to create new tables for databases, which is what this is.
So you import that when you're on the actual CS Unix, and when you're connected to the school.
Actually, here, I'll show you. It's csunix.mohawk.ca/php9.
Oh, so it's the same one? Okay.
Right? Then you just use this isn't your CS Unix login credential, this is your SQL login credential.
So root and then blank password?
Nope, that's only for XAMPP. The
Oh.
username is the same as your CS Unix username, but your password is different. It's stored in a file inside of your thing. I have the ability to reset yours for you, but the default is SA day, month, year, and it's your birth date.
What's the new one that you were, So that's your username and password pretty much for
For SQL.
SQL, okay.
It's different from your credentials for CS Unix themselves. Because those are the Apache server credentials, these are the SQL server credentials.
Okay. So you go in there, you import it, and then from there, then you have it on that server. Okay, so then,
Yeah.
then after that, it's good to go.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. And you said you know it's SA, underscore, date.
Date of birth, yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, sir.
Take it easy.
See you in the morning.